What happens if the so-called greatest woman of all time meets the queen of loyalty? What happens when hip-hop, boxing, and love all come together in a scandal so tangled and degrading that not even the hip-hop and love producers would dare write it? We're not talking about a ring battle tonight, so fasten your seatbelt. We are discussing the battle of secrets, betrayal, and reputations that has finally erupted. Yes, you heard correctly. Claressa Shields was supposedly revealed by Remy Ma for being pregnant by a covert lover. Additionally, Papoose has been embarrassed, caught off guard, and pulled into the decade's largest gossip storm as a result of the consequences. Consider it. The man who was once hailed as the epitome of loyalty now appears to be the biggest hip-hop idiot. And Claressa Boxing's Gwat was abruptly accused of being the antagonist in a soap opera that was more sinister than any championship night. Leaks, receipts, unnamed sources speculating about late-night rendezvous. Secret messages and motivations dripping with wealth and notoriety. We have everything. Wait until you hear how far this rabbit hole goes if you thought the first chapter was disorganized. There has always been drama in the love and hip-hop realm. However, this one wins the plate, the cake, and the entire fucking bakery. The story doesn't begin with a backstage brawl or a pointless tirade on Instagram. It begins with rumors and whispers that are so ridiculous that people initially laugh them off. Claressa Shields, boxing's GWOAT and unbeaten champion. The woman who created an empire by projecting an image of discipline and strength is now at the heart of a scandal so frank and degrading that every title she has ever received seems like a participation trophy. Remy Ma claims that Claressa was more than simply Papoose's friend. Allegedly, she was playing a risky game in which she had to balance fame, wealth, and allegiance like weighted gloves. Then the bomb arrived. Claressa Shields is pregnant, according to Remy, by a hidden lover, not Papoose. The type of lover that was not meant to be. The type of affair that was not intended to take place. The public was betrayed. The consequences were disastrous. The humiliation was broadcast for everyone to see on the internet. Take a moment to consider that Papoose, the man who used loyalty as the foundation of his entire brand. The man who supported Remy while she was incarcerated. Suddenly, the man who was acclaimed the ride-or-die monarch in hip-hop culture was reduced to a headline. Papoose was humiliated and departed. It is more than simply a headline. It's an earthquake of culture. The devoted man turned into the one who was duped. Furthermore, let's not pretend that this happened suddenly. Weeks had passed while the purported, leaked, blurred, and muttered receipts were being prepared. Blogs have hinted of late-night FaceTime conversations between Claressa and an unidentified individual. She allegedly boasted in shady direct messages that she was always getting what I want. Cryptic Instagram captions that appear a bit too on the nose. When you play the game correctly, winning is simple. Adorable when discussing boxing. When you're accused of meddling in someone's marriage, it's dark. Furthermore, Remy Ma didn't merely hint. She exploded. She went live. The film quickly went viral. She said, "Y'all keep praising loyalty. But let me tell you something. That girl isn't loyal. She's playing with a papoose, and I got the truth." Her eyes were sharp and her voice was calm. TikTok edits, reaction videos, and blogs that use a lot of capitalization. Claressa's defenses are revealed by Remy Ma. The internet isn't waiting for proof. In real time, it crowns villains. Claressa's once associated with titles and success. The name was now linked to suspicions of pregnancy and betrayal. The influx of anonymous sources was increasingly messy. At a posh hotel in Miami. One source claimed to have seen Claressa and her secret lover sneaking out separately but obviously together. According to another, Claressa chuckled over Papoose's loyalty, ignoring what is directly in front of him. The purported audio tape-a-thon appeared. A muffled recording of a woman's voice that sounded uncannily like Claressa's, stating, "He doesn't even know. I just need him for the platform." Is it real? Who knows? Definitely viral. Facts didn't matter to fans. The spectacle was important to them. Hashtags like #PapePusPlayed and #PREG by The Secret were popular on Twitter. Claressa was shown by memes clutching a pregnancy test while wearing boxing gloves. A video of Papoose rapping about loyalty while wearing clown horns was messed up by TikTok creators. The humiliation was brutal and dishonorable. Not a word, not a post, not a denial, just silence. Furthermore, in the realm of controversy, quiet speaks louder than words. Guilt is implied by silence. That's what fans decided anyway. It gets darker here, though. Leaked messages indicate that Claressa's purported secret lover was more than a passing romance. It was said that he was discussing the possibility of a future with her. Read messages. She is adept at using the limelight. I gave her life, but Papoose gave her influence. Whether fake, whether true or not, those remarks added fuel to a fire that was already burning fiercely. The narrative was about more than betrayal now. It has to do with living two lives. Claressa Shields is a secret loving muse at night and a boxing champion by day. Furthermore, this was more than simply rumors if the story included a pregnancy. It was a scandal that destroyed a legacy. Industry insiders started to comment. Sponsors slowly withdrew. Boxing promoters muttered about delayed partnerships. And even athletes from other sports made disparaging remarks. Suddenly, this wasn't just about a covert affair. An NBA player tweeted, "Loyalty isn't for everybody," a rapper added. Papoose deserved better. The topic of discussion was culture. Manipulation, treachery, and loyalty. Everything was up for grabs. And Claressa stood in the middle. Remy Ma's disclosures caused her empire to fall apart. And the never-ending question, why would Remy Ma reveal this? Was it retaliation? After years of being associated with Papoose's image, was it about taking back her own authority? Or was it only that she found it unbearable to watch Claressa supposedly frolic with the man who had been her companion? Perhaps it was everything. Perhaps it was greater than everything. One thing was evident, though. Remy wasn't merely revealing. The whole story was being rewritten by her. Not to mention the money, because money lurks like a shadow in every scandal. Supposedly, leaked invoices revealed Papoose sent Claressa financial transfers that were marked as business investments, either for business purposes or as a creative disguise. It was referred to as manipulation on blogs. Critics dubbed it robbery. She left him ashamed after taking advantage of him. The headline was too good to ignore, true or not. And the embarrassment got worse the more people clicked. Claressa's team was in a frenzy by the time the initial wave of memes went viral. According to people close to her, she was in full damage control mode and pleaded with Papoose in private to be quiet so that the story wouldn't get out of control. But when one of the loudest women in hip-hop is stoking the flames, how do you put out a wildfire? Remy was not going to back down. Each and every post, live and leak, was a fresh flame. Claressa was able to run. She could conceal herself, but she couldn't stop the machine Remy had let loose. Less time had passed after Remy Ma's disclosure cliffhanger when a second wave of chaos erupted on the internet. This was no longer merely a sloppy rumor. An avalanche was forming from this affair. Rumor pages were flooded with fictitious receipts, images of purported conversations, blurry paparazzi photos, and even voice notes that sounded suspiciously edited within hours of Remy dropping the truth bomb. Additionally, blogs claimed to have unique proof, while skeptics pleaded with the followers and warned them that they wanted blood, not truth. According to what one notorious website claimed to be hospital records, Claressa had attended a clinic. The headline stood out even though the details were half blurry, censored, and ambiguous. Confirmed pregnancy. Millions of people viewed and spent hours on the post. Was it authentic? Who knows? Was it significant? Absolutely not. The first impression is all that matters in the era of viral scandals. And it was a dreadful impression. Claressa Shields was charged with more than just treachery. While Papoose appeared foolish, she was purportedly carrying the kid of another man. The alleged lover then appeared, according to anonymous insiders who are always at hand when drama rises. The individual was a music management connected industry insider. According to one insider, Claressa was observed laughing like a teenager with the unidentified man at a posh restaurant in Atlanta. According to another, they went together under false identities. According to a third, Claressa granted him entry to Papoose's inner circle solely to demonstrate her power. Every new narrative added to the smoldering fire that Remy Ma had started. The fans' response was akin to a virtual jury. Claressa was immediately condemned by others, who referred to her as a social climber in boxing gloves, a manipulator, and a phony. Despite their demands for proof, others were powerless to stop the memes. TikTok is full of edits. Claressa in the ring with the phrase, "fighting Papoose's brain cells." Claressa strolled hand in hand with a faceless shadow while Papoose was photographed with a baby stroller. For days. Popular Twitter hashtags included Sekraloverexhaust, Preg with Lies, and Papoose played again. Remy Ma wasn't finished, though. She carefully added fuel to the fire. "Y'all think loyalty means letting someone play you?" she asked, grinning at the camera while sipping wine live one evening. "Without honesty, loyalty is just foolishness." The fans went crazy. People were pleading with her to reveal more in the comment sections. Remy, like a master puppeteer, only provided enough to keep the internet interested. All of the smirks, pauses, and cryptic lines were fuel. Claressa's quietness, however, became her greatest vulnerability. She had the option to deny it. She had the option to defend herself. She might have done a publicity stunt. But she said nothing. And it sounds like a confession to be calm in the midst of a storm. Her team attempted tactful damage management by posting inspirational messages about maintaining focus and retaining your crown. But the comments simply served to incite resentment among fans. As always, Papoose remained silent, but his silence had taken on a more sinister form. One comment under her post said, "Crown. Sis, you're wearing a dunce cap." Another focus on the baby, not the belt. The humiliation was merciless. Some blogs speculated that he was devastated, pacing in private and embarrassed to even leave his house, while others said he was secretly plotting. When it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, a fresh round of leaks came out. Alleged voice notes from the secret lover surfaced where a man's voice boasted. And she said, "I'm the one." Some even whispered about a diss track in the making, a lyrical nuke aimed at Claressa. True or not, the silence was the ideal blank canvas for fans to paint their own stories. She answered, "Papoose is too blind to notice it." For Papoose, the man who was hailed for years as the devoted spouse. The humiliation reached new heights as fans clipped, memed, and repeated it until it became gospel, regardless of whether it was real or fake. Reactions poured in, with a reality TV celebrity tweeting, "Boxing gloves can't hide dirty hands," and rappers making fun of Claressa in their lyrics. In their stand-up acts, comedians even parodied the incident. The controversy had transcended. Hip-hop, tea, and love were no longer the only things involved. It was the kind of humiliation that permeates pop culture so thoroughly that it becomes impossible to avoid. And there was an instant financial impact. After Claressa signed a contract with a sports drink manufacturer, the firm abruptly stopped talking. A planned campaign showcasing her was postponed by a footwear brand. According to one insider, she was too poisonous to deal with in the present situation, while her staff worked feverishly to rescue endorsements in boardrooms. The term public liability was already being discussed. Remy Ma, however, was doing very well. Her old music surged in streams. She was dubbed Queen of Receipts by her fans. She was portrayed in memes as the savior who rescued Papoose from Claressa's plots. Remy had completely changed the course of events for a woman who had previously been made fun of for her own scandals. She was no longer the issue. She was the remedy, the vindictiveness, and the truth teller. The greatest cliffhanger, however, was when blogs began to discuss DNA. Yes, exactly. According to unnamed insiders, Papoose was insisting on a DNA test in case the pregnancy rumors were confirmed. Consider that. The monarch of allegiance resorted to pleading for documents pertaining to his own humiliation. Fans conjectured endlessly. Would he be denied by Claressa? Would she tell the truth? Would the covert partner come forward? The answers were never provided, and the questions kept piling up. The scandal had changed by the end of the second part. There were no longer rumors of an affair. It was about careers collapsing, reputations being destroyed, and the possibility of personal and legal repercussions. Boxing's GW was now determined by her scandals rather than her titles. She wasn't merely revealing the truth, Remy Ma. She dared Claressa to challenge her by holding the receipts in her hands like trophies. Additionally, when sponsors flee, Papoose drowns in silence, and supporters chant for DNA tests. There was no doubt about that. It wouldn't just be a messy next chapter. It would be disastrous. The issue had evolved from dirty gossip to a societal obsession by the time rumors of a DNA test began to circulate on blogs. The question of whether Claressa Shields had a hidden lover was not the only one. It concerned if the pregnancy would openly validate her as the greatest manipulator who overthrew the monarch of loyalty in hip-hop. Fans became amateur detectives, piecing together timelines, captions, and cryptic postings like they were cracking a case of murder as the word DNA test began to trend across platforms. According to several blogs, Papoose had already requested evidence. According to an informant, he warned Claressa in private, "You won't see me ever again if that baby isn't mine." Legal teams were reportedly surrounding, prepared to take the issue to court if necessary, according to another purported leak. The speculation was vicious, unrelenting, and compulsive. Would Claressa back down, deny everything, and hope the storm passed? Or would she give in and tell the truth? Remy Ma, meanwhile, continued to apply pressure. The internet went crazy after she purportedly teased fans with the statement, "Sometimes you don't need Maury. Sometimes the streets know already." Twitter was filled with jokes. But beneath the amusement was a deadly, serious reality. Fans made her into a meme by photoshopping her as Maury Povich clutching an envelope with the words, "The test results are in." Claressa Shields' the entire reputation rested on a paternity dispute. What about the quiet? Oh, how deafening the silence was. Claressa posted ambiguous, encouraging phrases in lieu of directly addressing the rumors. "When the world doubts you, be strong." Fans immediately made fun of her. Every attempt at positivism turned into a punching bag. One comment under her post said, "Strong enough to cheat, weak enough to lie." Another said, "Girl, just tell us who the daddy is." Papoose was still a phantom. Fans filled the void with their own stories. There was no music, no declarations, and no interviews. He was quietly distraught, according to others. Others said he was secretly collaborating with attorneys to safeguard his resources. Some even hinted that he was producing a diss tune to share his version of events. However, until he responded, the internet continued to portray him as the humiliated husband. Portrayed by two women, Remy and Claressa, each of whom rewrote his history in their own unique manner. The alleged financial bombshell followed. One of Claressa's sponsors reportedly formally ended her contract, citing reputational hazards, according to a widely shared post. In just 1 month, she lost nearly $2 million in endorsements, according to another blog. It was upsetting for a woman who had once been a proud representative of women's boxing. From champion Claressa Shields to toxic for sponsors, the headlines changed. The shame was no longer merely personal. It was polished. It has to do with money. It was existential. Remy Ma, on the other hand, basked in the glow. Her old songs soared in the air. She was proclaimed the queen of truth by blogs. As the person who rescued Papoose from Claressa's purported manipulation, she received accolades from fans. The disdained wife was no more. As the heroine of a scandal that had swept through popular culture, she was the avenger. It was the ultimate rebranding for someone who had previously been dragged for her own scandals. The darkest turn of events, however, was the discovery of a fresh leak. A purported email correspondence between Claressa and her covert partner. Claressa allegedly wrote, "He's too blind to realize that I'm taking advantage of him. But the internet didn't care. Need is the fame." Was it fake? Screenshots spread like wildfire among platforms. It was deemed the smoking gun by fans. The story was settled for them. Claressa was at fault. The demands for accountability then became more urgent. Boxing organizations were asked to suspend her by certain supporters. Others advocated boycotting her fights. One admirer tweeted, "How can we support someone who betrays loyalty?" Someone else countered, "She doesn't deserve the belt." Whispers of legal action were also present. Whether true or not, the scandal had rewritten her narrative. Overshadowing years of achievements with a single messy rumor refused to pass away. According to blogs, Papoose's group was investigating. Damages for emotional distress. Claressa's lover could be implicated in a lawsuit, according to another website. Whether any of it was true or not was irrelevant. The fire was kept burning by the headlines alone. The cultural fallout was finished by this point. Claressa Shields had evolved beyond her boxing career. She was a warning story. Once the epitome of loyalty, Papoose had devolved into a meme. And Remy, she had rewritten herself into legend. The woman who dared to speak the truth when no one else would. But the most haunting part wasn't the memes, the leaks, or the financial damage. It was the silence. Claressa never confessed, never denied, never addressed the pregnancy head-on. Papoose never confirmed, never defended, never explained. The truth was buried under layers of gossip, leaks, and speculation. And in that silence, the internet built its own version of events. One where Claressa was the manipulator, Papoose the fool, and Remy the victor. And so the controversy closed the way all great scandals do. Not with resolution, but with ruin. Careers shaken, reputations tainted, questions left unanswered. Was Claressa actually pregnant by a hidden lover? Did Remy Ma exaggerate for revenge? Was Papoose actually blindsided? Or was he playing his own long game in silence? The world may never know, but the damage is done. The story has been written, the headlines memorialized, and the memes forever. Because what's true doesn't matter in the end. It only matters what people believe. And right now, the world believes Claressa Shields played the king of fidelity for money, fame, and disgrace. And Remy Ma made sure the whole world watched it burn. So, there it is. The scandal that turned the boxing queen into a meme. The loyalty king into an idiot, and the hip-hop legend into a whistleblower. Claressa Shields may have belts, medals, and a career full of victories. But none of it counts when the internet says you're guilty. Remy Ma didn't simply expose her. She staged a cultural takedown piece by piece, leak after leak, until Claressa was stripped of more than titles. She was deprived of dignity and Papoose. The man was once celebrated as the definition of loyalty. He's left with quiet memes and shame. Some call it heartbreak, some call it karma. But one thing's obvious. His story will never be the same. Whether he talks tomorrow or never speaks at all, his name has been established in this circus as the man who got duped. But here's the question I leave you with. Was this the ideal retaliation or the truth? Was it true that Claressa played Papoose for financial gain and notoriety? Or is Remy Ma just a brain behind the decade's biggest cultural drag? Is this the most entertaining destruction in reality TV history? Or are we seeing justice? Leave your comments below. Which side do you support? Is it Claressa, the fallen champion, attempting to retain her title? Papoose, the silent soldier? Or Remy, the queen of receipts? This isn't the end, so hit the like button, sign up for gossip, spill vibe, and enable your notifications. The betrayals, the leaks, and the murmurs are only getting started. Additionally, you'll want to be present when the next truth bomb goes off. It's a gossip spill feeling.